For those vaccines that are still in those earlier stages of development that might not be getting the attention that Pfizer and Moderna are getting right now, and there are still lots of them out there, how easy or difficult do you think it will be to enroll people in those clinical trials now that another vaccine has received emergency use authorization and vaccinations have started?
Well, that's really an important question. I mean, that was a large part of the discussion at the FDA Advisory Committee yesterday. And these are marathon sessions. So, 9 hours of Zoom is a lot for anybody. But they spent a lot of time asking the committee for their advice on how to go forward, just where we are right now. The short story is that right now people were randomized to either receive, in the current vaccine trials, to either receive the vaccine or a placebo. Well, now if you receive the placebo, which you shouldn't know, but maybe you do because of your reactions, but if you receive the placebo, you think, well, what? Well, wait a minute, I'm walking around and why don't I get protected? And there's this question about the ethical obligation that some of the companies feel to provide the protection for those people versus the fact that you're going to lose a lot of information if you unblind the studies and have people now all be vaccinated. So it was a large part of that discussion. I think that in the near term, this is not going to be such a problem because with relatively small supplies, it shouldn't be so difficult to enroll people in a study if they're not going to get vaccine for very long. And I know we'll probably talk about that New York Times thing about where you are in line, but it's going to be a while. So maybe there's going to be an incentive for people to enroll in a study if they think they can get a vaccine as part of that study. Over time, that's going to be more complicated. I think the answer to that, which is easy to say but hard to do, is the science part. That if we can come up with what are called these correlates of protection, what can you measure in a laboratory that says, if you have this level of antibody, or if you have this level of T cell, or level of something, you are protected. Right now, we don't have that. We know relatively how that works, but that's why the clinical trials are done. If we could figure out these correlates of protection, then we wouldn't have to have these massive trials. And we would know in a smaller subset of people if some other experimental vaccine would provide this kind of protection.